the She Did It web series. Once again, I'm very excited to share with you an amazing entrepreneur that has been highly recommended in our area. And so this is Ana Steinberg. Yes?
Right, yeah.
Oh, good. I said it right. Anna, welcome. I'm so excited to have you with us. And I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Good. All right, so my name is Ana Steinberg, as we discussed. I came to Canada 8 years ago already, which is crazy how fast it's gone like that, right?
Yeah.
I came here from Colombia as an international student. I'm actually half Colombian and half Argentinian, so kind of have that in the mix. And yes, I've been here for 8 years. I came for school and then I decided to launch my business, which is Ana Steinberg Events and Design. Because I liked creativity. I would have to name it, but I was like, I can go with my name.
It sounds good.
And so yeah, I've been doing that. And it's an event planning and graphic design business in which I do stuff such as weddings, corporate events, as well as branding, logos, business cards, wedding invitations, and such. And then on top of that, I also have a line of t-shirts, which is a bit of like a new project that's been in the works, with which eventually I hope to be able to fully offer employment to women in Colombia that are sole providers and that have been victims of the conflict. So it's kind of like a project in the works. It's going to be several years to get there to the point where we're like fully doing it, but right now it's just small steps.
That's so exciting. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I love it.
So tell us how you got started. How did you become an entrepreneur?
All right, so I think I am a very kind of like creative. I always have to be doing something with my hands. You know, I like painting, I like drawing. And the thing is that I found that in kind of like the more corporate atmosphere, I wasn't allowed to like, not allowed, but like I wasn't able to fully express that creative side of mine. And I actually, once I graduated from university, I went to Carleton here in Ottawa.
Okay.
I started working at Carleton as well.
Oh.
So I had a few years of accumulated experience there. And also because I came as an international student and then I was on a work permit, I wasn't allowed to have my own business. You have to be either a resident or a citizen. So once I had that PR, I was like, I'm doing my business. Yeah, so that's kind of like the build up to it, I would say.
That's right. So were you an entrepreneur before in Colombia?
I was not. No, I left when I was 18.
Okay.
There are very young entrepreneurs. I was not one of them. But yeah, no, actually both my mom is and my dad is a psychologist, but he manages his own practice sort of thing. So for me, it was very kind of like natural, I think. I kind of like felt like that was the way of things. And so I think that's just kind of like what I imagined for myself always.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. And so it's been 8 years or no? Hasn't been 8 years.
What, with my business?
Yeah.
No, 1 year. It's a baby.
1 year? Oh my goodness, that's exciting.
It's really a baby. Yeah, it's just been a year of madness, you know, of growth, of learning, of experiences, of meeting new people. It's new.
Okay.
It's been 8 years in Canada altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So that is very exciting.
Yeah, it has.
And you're doing it full time.
I am doing it full time. Yes. So I did start kind of like freelancing the years before. I was doing projects on the side. I was doing a little design here and there. I was doing events for people. But then officially a year ago, I started like my own business full time.
Wow. So what do you say is your success? Like, what is your definition of success in this time?
So I think for me, aside of like, of course, making money, like why obviously we would do this.
That's right.
I think that part of it is really those relationships that I create with my clients.
Yeah.
So being able to see either, you know, someone messages me and they're like, oh, you work with so-and-so and they recommended you, so I want to work with you now. Or I get a message, you know, a few weeks later being like, oh my God, I'm so happy with my logo, it defines my brand, all of these things. Being able to see that I create that connection with them and I'm able to create kind of like a thought they just had, you know, if people come to me with just like, oh, I just like to feel like this, but I don't know how to get there, right? So I bridge that experience, I bridge that idea into a design, and being able to see that they're so happy, so pleased with it, for me, that's where I'm like, yes.
That's it. Wow. And so you were saying how in this 1 year, you know, where you've been doing this and really just giving your heart and soul to this, you know? What would you say are some of the obstacles that you've gone through?
So
right
I think, yes, there's a few things that I've dealt with. I'm very hard on myself sometimes, so I keep like reminding me, like I used to call it pilot year. I was like, it's a pilot year, you know, it's like a pilot test. I have to, because as much research as you do, as much work as you put in, you won't learn certain things until you're doing them, right?
Absolutely.
So something that happens a lot is people wanting to do like, oh, exposure, you know, like, oh, you should plan this event for us for exposure. You should like design my whole brand for exposure. And I'm like, yeah, but when does it stop being exposure? And I understand there's like a give and take, right? I understand that to a certain extent, you do have to put yourself out there, but I feel like people, especially with like young entrepreneurs, really, really abuse that. The same as like when they know you're an immigrant. So I even had someone for a job that I was working with, and they had come to me, they liked my work, all this stuff. In the quote, when I finally gave them a quote, which was not even expensive at all, because I know I like underpriced significantly, this person was like, I'm really concerned with your domain of the English language. And I was like, wow. For a design project that required, and he even said so, I know we don't require you to like write anything in English, and I was like, oh my god, but it was just like the most passive aggressive email trying to get me to like lower my prices, and I'm sure he thought, oh, she's young, she's an immigrant, you know, she's gonna be like working for nothing, and I was like, no, I know my value, and I know my work, and it's so those things happen. And I think one of the biggest lessons too is just, regardless of who you're working with, so sometimes because I do work with people I know, I want to be like, oh yeah, it's fine, pay me wherever, you know? And I've had to learn to be like, no, sorry, but it's like the 50% deposit up front, and the other 50% upon completion of the project, right? So I had, for example, this one event which I was working with students, so I knew, you know, I was also a very active student, I was in clubs, I was doing all these things, so I was like, oh, I know, sometimes the funding gets delayed, you know, and I was like, it's fine, they'll pay me. It became this whole thing with their own sponsors being like, no, we decided not to pay her after there had been a contract, after I had invested thousands of dollars in the event, all out of pocket, because I was like, oh, they'll come around and like eventually have the money together for it. So it was a painful, scary lesson too, because I was like, I don't know what to do, I've lost all this money. It ended up working out, but after a lot of fighting, I would say. And it was one of those things where I was like, copy that, you know, lesson learned, never again. So
that's really good.
It's things that unfortunately, until you don't experience it sometimes, you don't think that it's that important or it's that, you need to be that strict about it. But now I'm learning to just be like, no, it's the way it is, you know, it's my business, I have to take care of it.
That's right, yeah. And actually we had a discussion about that, you know, in our launch, and during the talk show, and there was a lot of questions raised about, you know, prices, you know, about money basically, and being able to, as a woman, you know, it's very difficult, you know, in that aspect. And yes, you know, you want to be able to be out there and be known, but you also don't want to, you know, undercut yourself and things like that. So
I find that I like that you do that and that you bring up those conversations, because also I know, at least for us culturally, it's very like frowned upon, you know, to talk about money. So I tell my parents, I'm like, nah, why didn't we have this conversation more openly? And with my friends, I always try to, and with, you know, like the people that I kind of like meet in this kind of like little world, it's important, because if everybody's just kind of like, oh no, we don't talk about that, that's off limits, then it's disadvantages for everyone at the end, you know. So
absolutely,
you know,
at the end of the day, we are in business to make money.
Yeah, of course.
You know, to provide for our family or to be able to sustain a living, right?
Absolutely.
So, and being paid what you're worth is really, really crucial.
It's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Have you worked with a coach in that sense, or how did you get to that place?
I was very fortunate in being selected for this great program that Invest Ottawa has.
Oh, yes, okay.
So it's the Start Company Plus program, and it's for people that are either in the early stages of their business or have an idea but haven't really gone to the point of like creating it. So
that's right.
For me, it was really important for many reasons, especially because also I just didn't want to do anything that would get me deported. I wanted to know all the rules, because I was like, I don't want to be doing anything wrong out of ignorance. I need to know exactly how a business has to be run in this country.
Because you were still on your PR.
Yes, exactly. And just in general, I was like, what if like I don't know that, like, I don't know, taxes have to be paid?
Right.
For example. the first Monday of the month every month, and I don't know this out of ignorance. I was like, I want to make sure that I know every single rule and the way that it works.
Yeah.
So I found out about this program, and it was great. And they actually do pair you up with a mentor.
Okay.
And it was great actually talking with her because she was very like making me focus on like saying my no's, which I'm really bad at. Like knowing what to say no to, what to say yes to, how to kind of like hone it all in.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was a big part, and they throughout the program also teach you all of this stuff and like about how to price your business and how to like obviously it's general, right? Because we have a big range of people that are doing it. It's not everybody in the same industry, but it was super helpful. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And so did this program come about while you were still working, or
no?
Did you already stop working and started on your business?
Yes, I had started already, but I was looking for resources. And the thing is that I was very kind of like self-taught in this sense.
Yeah.
But I'd be reading stuff and I'd be like, oh, I don't even know if this applies anymore. Like I find a great blog article from 2013, and I was like, does this even make sense? This is how the business world works anymore. So it was all these things I kept reading, but I was like, I don't know that I'm getting all the right information that I have to get.
Right.
And when you're starting a business, you're so careful with your resources, if you will, that I was just like, oh, do I have to get an accountant? Like all of these things where I was like, oh, I just don't want to spend the little money I'm making into like just like going all out with all this stuff. And this program is free. And when I found it, I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. And they actually, at the end, there is the possibility to pitch your business, and I won a grant for
Oh, nice! Congratulations!
Yeah, that was super exciting, and so it was kind of like also a feeling of validation, like okay, what I'm doing makes sense, and like it's going in the right path. So that's why I ended up searching for that. I was looking like okay, like workshops Ottawa, where do I learn this, and so it came up. Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, it's great.
So, how did you fund your business?
So I am very, very fortunate in the sense that it requires very little money. I don't have machines, I don't need a space, like right now I do work in kind of like a co-working area, but at first I was working from home in Starbucks, so it was kind of like my life. So I didn't need a lot of initial investment, and when it comes to events, when it comes to design, I need my computer, I need my time, obviously. Right. So that was kind of it. I had been saving a lot in the years leading up to it, so I knew it was coming eventually. So I was just putting aside. So all of the little expenses that I did have to get, or even paying for software, which I do need to design stuff like that came from it. But it's not a huge investment, as I know all of my fellow entrepreneurs have had to do.
That's right. Absolutely.
So that was a plus.
So you just jumped, basically.
So it was, for months I had been like, okay, this is happening. I started working on my website on the side. I was like, I want it to be perfect. Started telling everybody in my life about it, to start doing events they might want, or design. But then eventually I was just like, yeah, okay, I have to do it.
That's right.
To do it. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been super exciting.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster. I'm like, and like,
Of course.
I'm constantly super excited and super terrified.
That's
I don't know if it keeps me young or old, but one of the two.
Well, you know what? You knew that you were not meant to do the 9 to 5, right? Absolutely. Or to be in a corporate environment or whatever. So just knowing that, and following your heart, and just knowing that you have the capacity, and then getting the resources, to continue on. Yeah. And you made the right choice for you.
I think so, and I really like it. The thing also is that I feel like having tried the corporate world and having seen certain restraints that I would deal with, pushed me even more. So aside from kind of not being able to have so much creative authority over certain things, it was also the fact that my family lives back home. All of my family lives there, right? Mm-hmm. And being, having 10 days a year where I could fly home, which it takes me 2 days there, 2 days back. I have 6 days to see everybody and their mother when I go to Colombia. And I was like, oh my God, there has to be another option where I can have something that's more flexible, where I can see my parents more often. And so that's also kind of one of the things that was pushing me. I was like, how can I create something in which I am here, but I can also be there if I have to work on something. I can also bring something back to Colombia, which is like a very important aspect for me.
That's right.
So it was kind of just like in this whole kind of like, how do I work this out? Is part of like where the business came from.
That's amazing. And how did the long-term vision for the T-shirt came about?
So it's just, I've always been a huge kind of like defender for like women's rights and women's rights in Colombia. I think, honestly, I've been very privileged in the life I've had, and in Colombia, the same as in everywhere else, is a toss-up, you know, like you don't, like I don't deserve anything that I have. Like, I mean, I want to believe I work hard, you know, but like, it doesn't mean that like I was born and that's it, right?
That's right.
And Colombia is a very, very, has a lot of inequality. You know, it's a country that has just been through a 60-year civil war, and we recently signed a peace treaty. And I was very invested in the whole, it was like my psych thesis, you know, the whole thing about what happens with people either supporting or not supporting the peace process. And that's where I kind of like started becoming obsessed with it. And how does one kind of like heal the trauma of the country that has been through, it's still multi-generational, right? So it's just like people that might have not lived the war themselves, but their parents or grandparents have. It's just kind of something that is very ingrained in the culture. So I thought that I'm not going to fix anything, I'm not going to change anything, but being able to work with especially women that are, I believe there's like, I don't know, I can't remember, you know these stats, but like 1.2 or 12 billion, I want to say it's 1.2 billion of women that are sole providers, you know, and it's just kind of like, especially with everything that's happened with the internal displacement in Colombia and stuff like that, there's women that have not been able to finish high school, will not be able to go to university, or it's very unlikely. So unless they have a dignified employment and something that will be able to help them sustain themselves and their family, their children are not going to be able to go to school as well. I worked in Medellin with a charity which was for children, and it's sad because sometimes they have to like drop off and they have to start working because like they also have to help with their families. So it's just like, unless you kind of like cut the cycle somewhere, it's always gonna keep happening, right? So that's where but something has to be done, and at least maybe a little something somewhere will help 4 or 5 kids, you know, and their families.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
it is. Oh, I hear you. Wow, no, you're very inspiring, Anna. Yes, and you know what? I would love to support that project. You know, whenever it's up and running, you know, we'll make sure that she supports that project because it's amazing.
I love it. Thank you so much.
I love that. So, do you have any advice for some of us that are looking to maybe, you know, jump, or maybe just starting from scratch while, you know, keeping our 9 to 5 and knowing, you know, how to navigate that, right? So do you have any advice on that?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, research. Do all the research. Learn everything you can about whatever it is, whatever industry it is you want to get into. If you can, if you have extra time, volunteer, go to the events, go to the trade shows, like everything that you can to learn about this industry that you want to have your own business in. Aside from the researching, I would say also kind of just like start getting everything prepared on the side, you know? So it's like, as I was telling you that I was like working on my website, you know?
That's right.
It doesn't have to be launched tomorrow, but I feel like putting it out there, making it seem real, you don't have to tell anybody it's there, but like you're like, okay, this is happening, and like the little things that you start learning from like the other places, like, oh, this is how they do it, this is how I should promote myself, start like acquiring all of that knowledge. Number 2, save. Save a lot of money because it's I feel like for me, running my business has been like the greatest financial teacher I've had because it's, I mean, I don't have children, but it's like I have to take care for more than myself, you know. It's not like, oh, check to check, you know, like, no, I have to make sure that this works and it's sustainable.
Yes.
And so once I knew I wanted to do it, and I needed that cushion because it's not necessarily going to take off right away. Or like maybe you'll have one great client and then it's like, oh, a few months until you find the next one. So saving for ease of mind is a great recommendation that I would say. Just like make sure you have that cushion, that possibility there.
Yeah.
And then this one is always my golden rule. I would say, do it, because you're never going to be ready. You know, so it's like it's the same with, I don't know, having kids or to changing your career or like going to, you're never going to know all the answers.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. So it's like if you're always just obsessed with knowing every little last detail, you won't know because there's so many things you're going to learn just as you go.
That's
Period.
it.
And it's the only way to do it, right?
Very
So
good, yeah.
do the research, of course, right? Don't just be like tomorrow, hey, I'm going to quit my job. Maybe like find out a little bit about it. You know, test the waters, all of that stuff. Save some money so you're like, you feel a little more secure when you do it. But eventually you just have to jump in and discover it as you go. So it's terrifying, but it's exhilarating. And
That's
so
right.
exciting. So I recommend it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what about partnerships? Have you had the need, to partner with other businesses or women entrepreneurs, and how has that helped you with your business?
So I would say kind of like the most common partnerships I have are with other vendors, I guess, for events.
Okay, yeah.
So for example, whether it's a photographer or a florist or a caterer, so it's important for me to create these relationships, right? Because I want to be able to offer the best quality to my clients, and then in the same way, I need to know that I have the best people that offer these services for them. So those are kind of like the most important partnerships I feel like I've developed in the last few months or year.
Yes.
In the sense of just like knowing who's offering what in Ottawa and like what do they stand for as well, right? And who can I recommend or who can I bring on board for my clients? So
that's really
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Anna.
thank you.
I don't know if you have any last words for us, if you have anything or if you have any offers that you want to talk about or anything coming up that you would need exposure for.
Fully invite you all to create me, and I hope like my stuff. I don't know. So on Instagram, and I'm Ana Steinberg. So Ana with one N because it's the Ana in Spanish,
In
right?
Spanish, yeah.
So Ana Steinberg, and my website is anasteinberg.com. So basically just my name for everything. Find me on Facebook there as well. And buy t-shirts and follow me forever and be my biggest fan.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for this. It was super fun.
Oh my goodness, it's my pleasure.
And I love what you're doing. It's a fantastic idea,
awesome.
project, I would say in general. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed Anna as much as I did. And I invite you next week to find out who we have next. And also visit our website at shedidit.ca to get more information on our future events and join our newsletter. Thank you. Bye.
I'm being recorded.
Yep.